The golden hour bathed the suburban neighborhood in a warm glow as sunlight filtered through the tall trees that lined the peaceful streets. It was early morning, and a cool breeze carried the fresh scent of recently cut grass. Angela de Castro jogged along the private trail that wound through the upscale neighborhood, her pace steady and unwavering. Her custom prosthetic leg shimmered in the morning light with each stride, a symbol of her strength and her triumph over challenges. For Angela, jogging was more than just exercise. It was a statement of her resilience, a way to remind herself and others of her journey since the accident that cost her a leg. A Paralympic gold medalist in track and field, Angela was a local hero, and her achievements brought pride to her community. Despite her success, she stayed humble, often using her platform to promote inclusivity in sports and encourage people with disabilities to chase their dreams. This morning, like many others, she was preparing for an upcoming charity event, her mind focused on the miles ahead. As she rounded a bend in the trail, her peaceful moment was interrupted by the loud siren of a police cruiser. The vehicle pulled up beside the trail, and Officer Mark Reynolds stepped out, his demeanor stern and commanding. Reynolds was known for his sharp judgments, often profiling people he deemed out of place in this wealthy neighborhood. To him, Angela's presence on the private trail seemed suspicious, and he scrutinized her prosthetic leg with unwarranted suspicion. "Excuse me, Ma'am," he called out, his tone sharp as he approached. "What are you doing here?" Angela slowed her pace, her breath steady as she turned to face him. "Good morning, officer. I'm just jogging," she replied calmly. Reynolds crossed his arms, narrowing his eyes. "This is a private area. Do you live around here?" Angela met his gaze, unflinching. "Yes, I live a few blocks away. I run here every morning." Reynolds didn't seem convinced, his posture stiffening. "Do you have ID?" Angela raised an eyebrow but stayed composed. "No, officer. I don't usually carry my wallet when I jog." Reynolds' tone turned more aggressive. "How do I know you're not trespassing?" "You don't belong here." Angela's jaw clenched, but she took a deep breath, choosing her words with care. "I'm not trespassing, officer. I've been running this route for years. I'm training for an event." Reynolds glanced at her prosthetic leg, a smirk forming on his lips. "An event?" He gestured toward her prosthetic leg with a dismissive motion. "What kind of event would that be?" he mocked, his words dripping with scorn. Angela felt the sting of his insult, but she remained unfazed, having faced ignorance and prejudice many times before. She knew better than to let his words affect her. "Yes, officer," she replied evenly, her voice steady. "I'm a Paralympic athlete, and I've won gold medals with this prosthetic." Reynolds chuckled dismissively, still unconvinced. "Sure, and I'm the president. Without any proof, I might have to take you in for trespassing." Before Angela could respond, a voice called out from the other side of the trail. "What's happening here?" Ellen Carter, a woman from the neighborhood in her 40s, hurried over, carrying groceries and looking concerned as she assessed the situation. "This woman says she's allowed to be here, but she doesn't have any ID," Reynolds said dismissively. "She claims she's some sort of athlete." Ellen's expression changed to one of recognition. "Oh my gosh, you're Angela de Castro," she said, her voice full of admiration. "I've read about you. You're our local hero, the Paralympic champion." Reynolds blinked, clearly taken aback. "She's a gold medalist?" he asked, surprised. "Yes," Ellen answered, now addressing the gathering crowd. "She's been representing our community on the world stage. She's been featured in the news." The crowd's admiration for Angela grew, and one of the bystanders quickly pulled out their phone to show Reynolds an article about her. The headline read, "Local Paralympian Angela de Castro wins gold, inspires generations." Reynolds' face flushed with shame as the reality of his mistake set in. He glanced at Angela, who stood tall, composed, and dignified despite the earlier insult. Angela had endured the situation with phones recording every moment. "Ma'am, I didn't realize," Reynolds stammered, his tone shifting awkwardly. Angela met his gaze, steady and composed. You didn't realize because you didn't take the time to ask, she responded calmly. You assumed? Ellen stepped in, placing a hand on Angela's shoulder. You owe her an apology, officer, she said firmly. This is unacceptable. After a moment of hesitation, Reynolds muttered, I'm sorry. Angela nodded but didn't reply, instead turning to the crowd with a small smile. Thank you for your support, she said. Everyone deserves respect, no matter their background. The incident went viral quickly, with outrage spreading across social media and news outlets, condemning Reynolds' actions as racial profiling and ableism. The police department apologized, placing Reynolds on administrative leave while they investigated. Angela, despite her initial shock, used the platform to speak out for systemic change. This isn't just about one incident, she said in a televised interview. It's about challenging the biases that hold us back as a society. The incident also sparked a surge of support from the community. Angela's charity event saw increased participation, with local businesses and residents showing solidarity. The event, a run to raise funds for adaptive sports, became a celebration of resilience. On the day of the event, Angela led the race, her prosthetic leg symbolizing her strength. The crowd cheered as she crossed the finish line, her face beaming with pride. Among the onlookers was Reynolds, standing at the edge, his expression one of regret as he watched Angela receive a standing ovation. In the days that followed, Reynolds completed sensitivity training. His perspective profoundly changed. Angela, on the other hand, continued advocating for change, using her voice to inspire others. The experience reminded her of both the challenges still to be overcome and the power of resilience and community. As the sun set over the neighborhood, Angela returned to the trail, her stride confident. The community that once doubted her now supported her, a testament to the strength and change she had sparked with her unwavering grace.